let's settle in. Welcome to our meditation time. I hope that you are in a spot where you can just get comfortable and cozy and just get into a position that feels right for you. And if it feels good, you can close your eyes. You can bring your eyes to a focal point, or at least just take them away from the screen for just a bit. And I would invite each of us to just notice the importance of the showing up. We all have these alarms or these reminders or something that tells us that, hey, this is the time that I pause and I meditate on this day at this time. And we have a choice. We have a choice to respond and show up. We also have a choice to let the alarm go or the reminder and continue to engage in whatever we were doing when that alarm went off. So I really hope that you will just sit here and just reflect for a second on what it means to show up for yourself. There's so many things that are vying for your attention, so many things that want your focus and your energy, and here you are. And we have been on a journey for about 2 months now, journeying through the first book of the Yoga Sutras. And we have arrived at the end. And so today is this kind of culmination of all these teachings of this first book of the how. How do we calm these fluctuations in our mind? How do we live a life that is with ease and grace and compassion? And so as we settle in together, let's just focus on our breath first. So begin to take a slow breath in and just notice how it feels as you breathe in right here and now. And then relaxing through the shoulders, exhale, let it go. And then breathing in. And again, just relaxing those shoulders, letting the breath go. One more together, breathing in. And exhale, release. And we've been journeying through the Yoga Sutras as a way to really help us fill our toolbox with all the things that we need for when the world gets loud and our lives get busy and our steadiness gets a little less steady. And so the Yoga Sutras were written so long ago as just these aphorisms, these statements about the how. And this first chapter that we've been journeying through is called the Samadhi Pada. It is the chapter on Samadhi. And without going into too much yoga philosophy, Samadhi is the 8th limb. So we have a limb that's focused on breath. We have a limb that's focused on movement. We have a limb of yoga that's focused on meditation. We have one that's about concentrating, one that's about taking care of ourselves, one that's about taking care of our relationships with others. But we have these limbs, almost like if you picture a tree, and they all work together as this one unit of yoga, of living a life of union, living a life of harmony. And the idea of these 8 limbs, these branches, these trunks, these roots, is that a tree doesn't just function with one part, meaning you can't just show up on your yoga mat and do a few postures and expect that to just be enough for this sense of harmony. You also can't just think about meditation, but then get up and treat people in the world unkindly or not be responsible with the resources that we've been given. So these 8 limbs teach us that this is a whole approach to our life. It's how we show up in the world. It's how we live as a part of humanity. And this 8th limb, Samadhi, that's why I think this first chapter of the sutras was called the Samadhi Pada, because he tells us the end as he begins. He tells us Samadhi, this 8th limb, this culmination of this practice, this is what we all want. It is bliss. It's transcendence. It is peace. And so what I would invite each of us to do before we just kind of explore this last sutra of this section, I would invite each of us in our own space with our eyes either closed or looking at a point of focus. Picture in your mind's eye what you see when I say the words bliss and transcendence and peace. What does that look like for you? Are there colors or shapes or images? Are there things that you can make out in that picture and really see? Or maybe it's just light. And I think based on your spiritual tradition, your faith, however it is that you move through the world when it comes to your spiritual awareness, I think that will inform what you see when you think about ultimate peace, when you think about bliss and transcending all of these distractions of the world. What do you see? And I think there's been a lot of folks over time that when they think about these 8 limbs of yoga, they think about how they can do all the other 7 because they're all so tangible. But number 8 seems really unattainable. Can we really attain in this lifetime, in this contemporary busy world, can we truly attain a sense of bliss and peace and transcendence in our lives? And what Patanjali has told us, and what I have experienced in my own life, in my own walk, is that this is not just for monks who live on the side of the mountain, or not just for priests who study and commit to their whole life to this practice, secluding themselves from so many things. This is for you and me. They call us the householders, the people who are moving through the world, doing the things, going to work and having families and buying groceries and worrying and celebrating and feeling pain and feeling joy. That's who Patanjali says when he wrote these. That's who these promises, these assurances are for. It's for you and me. The regular people who have an alarm that goes off on a Thursday night that says, it's time for meditation. And we show up. Because we know that on the other side of this showing up, there's something. And our heart longs for it. Our nervous system craves it. Our mind wants it so much. And we show up with this hope that it's not just for the guys on the side of the mountain in the cave. We show up with the hope that it's for us. And so Yoga Sutra 150, as we get to the end of this chapter, it says, you have all these impressions in your mind, you have all these experiences, all these memories, all these conditioned ways of thinking and being. And they influence who you are a lot. They influence how we act and how we respond. But this sutra says, Samadhi, this transcendence, this peace, this bliss, it wipes out the distractions. It wipes them out. Now, that doesn't mean that we will never get distracted again. It means that the ones that we bring to the space here, that just keep nagging and gnawing at our attention and our focus, when we commit to this practice and we catch this glimpse of the ultimate peace, over time it begins to wipe out those distractions. It wipes out the impressions of the negative self-talk that we engage in. It begins to heal the frayed edges of the trauma that we've experienced. Because within that beautiful picture you've seen, that light, that transcendence, whatever it looks like for you, that's where we heal. And it is available to each and every one of us. So how How do we do it? When does it come? And that's the part that I don't have the answer to. But I can tell you that as you show up for yourself, as you sit, as you draw away from the distractions of the world, you start to catch glimpses of this. And all of a sudden, it's not just something that you imagine, it is something that you see. It is something that you feel on your person, that you understand exist within your heart and in your spirit. I remember growing up in the church and having Bible verses that we would memorize and we would learn. And I remember this verse that talks about the peace that passes all understanding. And then the more I started learning about the text of yoga, I realized they're all saying the same thing. There is this peace that we can't quite articulate, but it is real. And our meditation practice allows us to strip away the things that get in the way and catch glimpses of it again and again and again. Until all of a sudden we're walking around in our normal life, going to the grocery store, going to work, interacting with our family, driving our cars. And that peace is going with us. And so I want to just pause. Just let each of us just reflect on what that means for us. We are all at different spots along this journey. Some of us have been at it for a very long time. Some are very new. But there's not a time stamp on this. It comes in the quiet moments. Quiet moments of showing up. And once you see this thing that you've just imagined, you understand that not only is it real, but it is truly attainable for you. And so let's just pause and just let that kind of sit with you. Keep seeing that picture of peace. What does it look like? Continue to breathe. And just watch what's going on in your heart, across your mind. And as you continue to breathe and continue to notice, next I would invite you to just picture in your head which is the impression, the memory, the thought that tends to borrow you the most trouble, that tends to distract you and pull you away from the sense of peace. What's that nagging, gnawing thought, that conditioned way of thinking that feels like it has a really strong foothold in your life? See that for just a second. And then imagine, what if that thought pattern could be wiped away? What if that one memory or that one experience, that one conditioned way of thinking that tends to pop up all the time, What if it could just be wiped out and replaced by that ultimate peace? Patanjali says in chapter 1, number 50, he says Samadhi, this ultimate peace and bliss and this transcendence over these disturbances in our mind, it will wipe out the fluctuations. It will wipe out the impressions that don't serve us. And I will tell you, I have experienced this personally in my life. It doesn't mean that I don't have memories. It just means that my memories don't have a foothold in my today. They don't cause me to respond in a certain way like they used to. They don't cause me to doubt. Little by little, they're being wiped out. And it's the peace that this verse says passes all understanding that has taken their place. And my wish for each of us is that we experience that on a regular, daily basis. And as we prepare to close our time today, the first thing I will tell you is don't get frustrated because it doesn't seem like it's coming fast enough. You just keep responding to the showing up, bringing yourself to a place of stillness, a place of calm, a place of quiet. And when everything within you finds that gentle stillness, that thing that you used to just imagine all of a sudden now looks very, very real. Samadhi, the eighth limb of yoga, the peace that is indescribable, beyond our comprehension, but completely real. Honor the showing up of today by how you live tomorrow. Let this practice truly inform how you show up in the world. Namaste.